blame of that squarely on the person whose actions destroyed my family.
These girls are so young and so vibrant and so...
33-year-old Josh Duggar accused now of having child porn.
Despite their apparent brightness, fame and wealth frequently have unexpected twists and depressing consequences. 20 Hollywood stars currently rotting in prison for crazy reasons. Come along with us. Due to her dramatic personality, Jen Shah rose to fame as a cast member of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. However, in 2021, her career took a negative turn. She was arrested for engaging in a telemarketing fraud scheme that promised phony business services to elderly and vulnerable individuals.
We tell the boys, you're black in a predominantly white community, like don't move, don't say anything, be polite.
Shah entered a guilty plea to conspiracy to commit wire fraud in July 2022 and received a 6.5-year sentence in federal prison. She is scheduled to be released in December 2027. Having started serving her sentence in February 2023, the Shah Shocker and the Housewife Hulu special both highlight her ascent and decline. When severe accusations against Kris Wu surfaced, his quick ascent to fame in K-pop came to an abrupt end. Wu was well known in China and abroad at first for his acting prowess and musical ability. However, there was a great deal of outrage in July 2021 after several women accused him of sexual assault. Authorities looked into allegations that Wu used false pretenses to entice women, some of whom were minors, to his house before attacking them. As more victims came forward, the case intensified, and he was arrested. Wu was found guilty of rape in November 2022 and given a 13-year prison term. He is presently incarcerated in a Chinese prison to serve his time. Wu's career came to an end as a result of the scandal. His endorsements and music were taken down from platforms. His tale is a sobering illustration of the abuse of celebrity and the significance of taking responsibility for abusive behavior. Despite building a successful business and music empire, Sean Diddy Combs' career has been tainted by legal troubles and controversy. The Notorious B.I.G. and other legendary artists got their start in the 1990s thanks to Diddy's label, Bad Boy Records.
10 years from now, we'll still be on top. Yo, I thought I told you that we won't stop.
He became a cultural icon whose influence went beyond music to include fashion, vodka brands, and media endeavors. Diddy's success was not without its difficulties, though. He got into a fight with a UCLA football coach during his son's practice in 2015, which led to his arrest for assault. The incident brought Diddy's fiery temperament to light, even though the charges were later dropped. In addition, he has been sued for personal and business-related offenses. Even though Diddy was spared jail time, his experiences serve as a reminder of the scrutiny and accountability that come with celebrity. Known for his role in Welcome to Sweetie Pie, Tim Norman shocked fans in 2016 by masterminding a murder-for-hire scheme. In order to obtain a $450,000 life insurance payout, Norman planned to kill his nephew, Andre Montgomery Jr. Norman recruited accomplices, coordinated their activities, and discussed the crime both before and after it was carried out, according to investigators.
And then a patio? That's some wood.
You gonna get on YouTube and watch how to do it?
Man, look, I can get on YouTube, figure out how to make a patio.
Norman was charged with conspiracy to commit murder and other related offenses after his arrest in 2020. He was convicted in September 2022 and given a life sentence without the possibility of release. Although Norman was once praised for his family's television shows, he now stands for a terrifying breach of confidence. His narrative highlights the terrible toll that violence and greed take on communities and families. Early in the 1990s, Locaine was a rising star who starred opposite Johnny Depp in John Waters' cult classic Cry Baby, before going on to star in the highly regarded Blue Sky, for which she was nominated for a Young Artists Award for Best Performance by a youth actress co-starring in a motion picture. She also frequently appeared on the popular soap opera Melrose Place in prime time. Later, in order to raise her family, she gave up acting. On the evening of June 27, 2010, Locaine struck a car driven by Fred Seaman, who was turning left into his driveway, while she was traveling at 53 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone. The accident claimed the life of Seaman's wife, Helene, an adjunct professor at NYU. Locane, who had been drinking at a friend's barbecue, had a blood alcohol content of 0.23 when police arrived, which is more than 3 times the legal limit. Despite being found guilty of second-degree vehicular homicide and assault by automobile,
Okay? I didn't get no axle grease on you, did I?
No, I'm fine.
Been to Turkey Point before?
My grandmother wouldn't let me.
Locane was only sentenced to 3 years in prison, which is 2 years less than the minimum penalty for the offense. The judge gave the shorter sentence because of Locane's children's welfare. After the crash, Locane joined Alcoholics Anonymous and is now sober. She was sentenced to 3 years in prison before being released on parole on June 12, 2015. But on September 17, 2020, an appeals court resentenced her to 8 years in prison, finding her original sentence to be too light. On December 20, 2024, she will be eligible for parole from the Edna Mahan Correctional Facility for Women in New Jersey, where she is presently incarcerated. Joe Sun's career was overshadowed by his criminal activities, despite his fame as Random Task in Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery. When he was arrested for vandalism in 2008 and his DNA was connected to a cold case, the world was shocked by his horrible crimes.
What's in it for you?
I don't want to see Travis hurt.
Of course, I have no quarrel with Travis.
Sun and a co-conspirator abducted a woman in 1990 and tortured and abused her for hours. Sun was found guilty of felony torture and given a sentence ranging from 7 years to life, despite the fact that the statute of limitations for sexual assault had passed. Sun received an additional 27-year sentence for manslaughter in 2011 after killing a fellow prisoner while he was incarcerated. With films like Shakespeare in Love and Pulp Fiction, Harvey Weinstein dominated Hollywood, but his empire fell apart. When numerous women came forward in 2017 to accuse him of sexual harassment and assault, his career came to an abrupt end. Prominent actresses contributed to the Me Too movement by sharing horrific stories.
That, forget the screenplay, which is super complicated. Make the short movie.
Weinstein's decades-long predatory behavior exposed pervasive problems in the entertainment sector. By 2018, he was charged with several offenses, such as sexual assault and rape. In 2020, Weinstein was found guilty and given a 23-year sentence at the Mohawk Correctional Facility in New York. In California, he faces more charges, and a potential 16-year extension is imminent. A police report obtained by In Touch magazine in 2016 claimed that Duggar had molested multiple children, including his sisters, while still a teenager. Jim Bob and Michelle did not call the police at the time of the crimes. After consulting with their church leaders, they had a state trooper from Arkansas give Duggar a very stern talk. The trooper was not the best person to ask for assistance. In addition to not reporting the crimes, he was later found guilty of taking pictures of child sexual abuse and given a 56-year prison sentence. After the police report was made public, Duggar was the subject of a federal investigation.
Very inexpensive, and we did not get a haircutting cape with...
Authorities arrested Duggar on federal charges of receiving and possessing child sexual abuse images after discovering them on his computer at his used car dealership. A Homeland Security official testified during the trial that the pictures on Duggar's computer were in the top 5 of the worst I've ever had to examine. After being found guilty, Duggar received a 12-year, 7-month prison sentence. He will not be eligible for release until October 2, 2032, while he is incarcerated at the Federal Correctional Facility, FCY Segoville, in Texas. In March 2021, Shaw was charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering. She and her assistant were charged with planning a telemarketing scam in which they defrauded their, typically elderly, victims of substantial sums of money in exchange for insignificant or worthless services like business coaching and website development. According to Nightline, a 75-year-old retiree in North Carolina named Tricia, who requested that her last name not be used, spent $47,000 or more than half of her savings, on coaching regarding a business she intended to launch. Ralph Halleck, a veteran of World War II, was defrauded of over $100,000. At the age of 92, he committed suicide. According to his family, the scam played a part in his demise.
And as I grow my businesses and expand into, building up more of a lifestyle.
Shah often joked about the victim's suffering and her employees' ability to victimize them, according to a sentencing memo from federal prosecutors. Additionally, texts between Shah and her accomplices were made public, in which they discussed ways to keep their victims addicted and spending more money. Shah eventually entered a guilty plea to wire fraud after first claiming innocence. She is currently incarcerated at FPC Bryan Prison in Texas after receiving a sentence of 6.5 years. August 2028 is when she will be eligible for parole. Jace starred in high-profile films like Forrest Gump and Boogie Nights, but his most well-known role was that of Officer Julian Lowe on the FX police drama The Shield. As their young sons, ages 5 and 8, watched from their bedroom, Jace shot his wife April, a competitive medal-winning sprinter, in the back on May 19, 2024, at their home in the Hyde Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. After shooting his wife in the legs, according to the prosecution, Jace told her,
"The poodle, pussy, whatever your name is, Roper, if you a man, be a man. Step up, fight me. You ain't fought nobody."
If you like running, then run to heaven. Prosecutors further argued that Jace, who had consumed alcohol throughout the day, was obsessed with the possibility that his wife was cheating on him. Jace received a sentence of 40 years to life in prison after being found guilty of second-degree murder. "There is absolutely no justification for my actions on that night," Jace stated at his sentencing. "I sincerely apologize for the suffering I have caused everyone." Jace is incarcerated at California State Prison Corcoran to fulfill his sentence. I Believe I Can Fly and other classic hits were voiced by R. Kelly. Because of his crimes, he witnessed the collapse of his career. Once praised for his artistic abilities, Kelly's career started to fall apart in the 2000s after he was accused of sexually abusing minors. He was taken into custody in 2019.
Forget the blogs, forget how you feel about me. Hate me if you want to, love me if you want, but just use your common sense.
On federal charges of sex trafficking and racketeering. The surviving R. Kelly documentary spotlighted victim testimonies, revealing years of abuse, manipulation, and exploitation. Prosecutors detailed how Kelly used his fame to groom and control victims. In 2021, he was found guilty and sentenced to 30 years. Kelly is currently incarcerated in a federal prison in Chicago. His fall from grace has sparked discussions about power dynamics in the entertainment industry and the importance of supporting survivors. His case is a chilling reminder that no one is above the law. A federal warrant was issued for Harris in September 2020 on the grounds that he asked twin boys, ages 13 and 19, to send naked pictures when he was 19, and one of them consented. I told him that I was 13, and then after that, right off the bat, he asked me, "Can I have butt pics? Or can you send butt pics?" the boy said on the second season of Cheer, explaining how the abuse started. Authorities claim that Harris acknowledged exchanging sexual images with 10 to 15 children he knew were minors, leading to his arrest and subsequent charges of producing images of child sexual abuse. Additionally, according to court documents, Harris, who was 19 at the time, had sex with a 15-year-old in 2018. Harris entered a guilty plea in February 2022 to charges of traveling for illegal sex with minors and taking pictures of child sexual abuse. He was given a 12-year sentence to serve in an Oklahoma City federal prison. Meggett, an NFL veteran of 10 years, was selected to 2 All-Pro teams, once with the New York Giants and once with the New England Patriots. He also won a Super Bowl with the Giants in 1990. Prosecutors subsequently dropped the sexual assault charge against Meggett and only tried him for the robbery. The trial ended in a hung jury. Meggett was accused of robbing a Toronto sex worker and sexually assaulting her in 1998. Even though Meggitt was later accused of sexual assault by 3 more women, including one who claimed that Meggitt had raped her after putting a date rape drug in her drink at a bar and dragging her to his Porsche, this began a pattern of Meggitt avoiding serious consequences for his crimes. After breaking into the house of a woman he had lent $200 to and sitting on the edge of her bed, Meggitt was ultimately apprehended in 2009. Startled, she woke up and he insisted that she pay him back. He raped her after saying, "I'm gonna get a down payment now," when she didn't have the money. The victim went to the hospital after Meggitt left, where medical professionals discovered vaginal abrasions that were consistent with sexual assault. Meggitt received a 30-year prison sentence after being found guilty of burglary and criminal sexual conduct. He is currently incarcerated at Lieber Correctional Institution in South Carolina and will not be eligible for parole until July 6, 2034. Cuba Gooding Jr. was once the golden boy of Hollywood, stealing the show in Boys in the Hood and Jerry Maguire. However, his tale took an unexpected turn. He was accused by several women in 2019 of acting inappropriately in New York City restaurants and bars. After a criminal investigation into claims of groping, Gooding was ultimately charged with forcible touching. Gooding said that any contact was voluntary and refuted the allegations. He did, however, enter a guilty plea in 2022 for physically assaulting a woman at a nightclub in 2018. The court ordered him to undergo mandatory alcohol counseling and 5 years of probation. Gooding's reputation, which was once praised for his talent, now reflects the fallout from improper behavior. Josh Duggar's demise will make you fear the sinister faces concealed behind the masks of celebrity, whether in Hollywood or reality TV. Once beloved as America's dad on The Cosby Show, Bill Cosby's reputation was ruined by multiple accusations of sexual assault. Cosby was arrested in 2015 after more than 60 women accused him of drugging and abusing them over many years. Cosby was found guilty on 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault against Andrea Constand in 2018.
The last day of school, all you did was you went out into the hallway and you said, "Last day of school," and children next.
And given a prison term ranging from 3 to 10 years. However, a prior agreement with prosecutors led to his conviction being overturned in 2021, which infuriated many. Even after being freed, Cosby's reputation is still damaged. His case raised awareness of the problems with accountability and consent in sexual assault cases. Cosby was once a trailblazing figure in entertainment, but he is now a divisive figure who represents the misuse of trust by the powerful. His narrative emphasizes how crucial it is to stand by survivors and seek justice despite major obstacles. After becoming famous as Stephen Hyde on That 70s Show, Danny Masterson's life took a terrible turn. 3 women made shocking accusations against him in 2017, saying he had sexually assaulted them from 2001 to 2003. Giving victims alcohol to render them unconscious prior to the attacks was one of the accusations. His retrial in 2023 resulted in convictions on 2 counts of rape, despite his plea of innocence. He is currently incarcerated in California for 30 years to life.
Sort of all come up with something that's kind of funny.
Right.
And mine was DJ Donkey Punch.
With the possibility of parole only after 25 years. His association with the Church of Scientology garnered attention, which fueled the flames. The group allegedly attempted to protect him, according to the victims, which sparked contentious discussions about power and corruption in Hollywood. Masterson was once a sitcom star, but his legacy now serves as a warning about privilege and responsibility gone wrong. Let's now discuss Ryan Grantham, another individual whose deeds rocked Hollywood to its foundation. Before his life took a turn for the worse, Ryan Grantham was a bright young actor who starred in Riverdale and Diary of a Wimpy Kid. With more than 30 credits under his belt, Grantham established himself as a rising star in Canadian entertainment. But when he shot and killed his mother at their home in British Columbia in 2020, his life took a tragic turn. Grantham had intended to carry out more acts of violence after the incident, but he eventually turned himself in to the police.
Grantham has been sentenced to life in prison for killing his mother, according to...
Psychologists identified his mental health issues during his trial by diagnosing him with severe depression. In court, Grantham acknowledged the seriousness of his actions and expressed profound regret. He is currently serving his sentence in Canada, and once he completes the bare minimum of time, he will be eligible for parole. His narrative emphasizes the grave repercussions of untreated mental health conditions and the significance of getting treatment before a tragedy occurs. On American Guns, William Hayden rose to fame, but his reputation was destroyed by his sinister secrets. When Hayden was arrested for sexual assault in 2014, his reputation as a firearms expert was destroyed. Several minors were charged, and the victims described years of abuse.
They're going to drop in elevation, period. Any of them coming down the hill for any reason, I'm sorry.
A troubling pattern of behavior was discovered by investigators. Hayden was given a 50-year sentence without the possibility of parole after being found guilty in 2016 of first-degree rape and child molestation. At the moment, he is incarcerated in a Louisiana prison. His story demonstrates how public figures can conceal wrongdoing, transforming Hayden from a TV personality to a representation of responsibility. Before becoming notorious for a terrifying crime, Shannon Richardson was a little-known actress who starred in shows like The Walking Dead. She sent threatening letters laced with ricin to New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg and President Barack Obama in 2013.
An East Texas federal judge rules that the woman's sentence for sending ricin-laced letters to former President Barack Obama.
A thorough federal investigation resulted from this. The evidence showed that Richardson was the one who sent the poisonous letters, despite her initial attempt to frame her husband. After being taken into custody, she entered a guilty plea to the charges of manufacturing and possessing a biological weapon in 2014. She received an 18-year prison sentence. Richardson is currently behind bars, and his story serves as a sobering reminder of the perils of unbridled motivations and the dire repercussions of careless behavior. Josh Duggar, the star of TLC's 19 Kids and Counting, shocked viewers in April 2021 when he was arrested. Duggar was accused of downloading child pornography, despite being praised for his family's moral principles. The public was outraged when investigators discovered explicit material involving minors on Duggar's computer. He was convicted by a jury in December 2021 of receiving and possessing child pornography.
5 cited Josh, now 27 but underage at the time, as the alleged offender for inappropriate touching.
He was given a sentence of 151 months, 12.5 years, in federal prison by the court. In Texas, Duggar is presently completing his sentence. The case rekindled conversations about safeguarding children from exploitation and revealed a sinister side to the Duggar family's reputation. The serious repercussions of such crimes and the significance of protecting those who are vulnerable are brought home by Duggar's story.